Welcome into the Bobby Carpenter Show. It's Monday. It's game week for college football. Now, Ohio State still has 2 weeks left. But it was interesting. I was over at practice flags. I'm like, hey, Ryan had a press conference at 11:30 after practice. And I was asking, like, is he going to announce the quarterback? And some of the guys, flags, who I would talk to, like non-coaches, but in the administrative, like football staff who would know. They're like, wow, you never really said anything in meetings. I'm like, I think a lot of people are anticipating it. If he does or he doesn't, it's fine with me, and I'm not going to say anything. But yeah, he never mentioned it like in the whole like all staff meeting. Maybe the offense has talked about it, and maybe some things are going on. And I was like watching at practice, trying to see. Like, I wasn't there at the beginning. I had a meeting for our Carpenter mechanical stuff earlier, so I got a little lift and got there a little bit later. But I was curious, and so they throw it on and listen to it on 97.1 The Fan. And I'll be darned, Schlags. Like, he came out, announced it. Julian Sayin is going to be the quarterback for Ohio State moving forward. They want to do this to get him, most of the reps leading in here, so they had plenty of time over 2 weeks to kind of figure this out. I get it. I understand it. I don't think Ryan wants to play quarterback roulette. I don't know if any coach really wants to play quarterback roulette. It's not a good situation to be in. It's the one position where you really can't do that. And a ton of news coming out of the scrimmage, but man, I think it was a tough battle. I think guys offered some different things. Like I said, I think the ceiling for both of them is national championship caliber play. I think both of them are NFL quarterbacks. And Julian Sayin is now going to be the starter, though, for the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Yeah, I read some great comments, and people were talking about the whole Iron Buckeye thing. And remember what I told you guys before. The Iron Buckeye thing gets you an opportunity. It's just like, all right, this guy handles his business, so he's going to have an opportunity to be able to go out there and improve. Because again, ball is not a weight room thing. Ball is not a track thing. Ball is ball, and we've seen it through things that are going on. Whether it's D-line, linebackers, what we're going to do, big nickel, offensive line shifting around, just seeing who the best. Because, again, it goes back, who's the best 11 that puts you an opportunity to win football games. And Ryan Day believes that Julian Sayin is the quarterback to do so. And you have 2 weeks, a little less than 2 weeks, going into the Texas week. So let's make sure that he is prepared and we have the right game plan to go beat Texas at noon in the shoe.
Well, and I want to say this, too, as well, with situation. Like, sometimes you see these guys that, I don't want to use the term pal, they don't respond well to this news, and like they just dip out, like they leave the team. I don't think that's going to be the case with Lincoln Kienholz. Lincoln came here, knew he was going to be a developmental guy, just from how he was, his career path at South Dakota and how he chose to play. And so obviously he's disappointed, but I don't think this will be a situation where you're going to lose that guy for the season. Like, he's going to be gone. I think he will stay here. And heck, like, the secret to success is being prepared when your opportunity comes.
Correct.
And I mean, I'm not wishing anything ill on Julian by any stretch, but we've watched situations where, I mean, Devin Brown had to come in for Howard last year. You watched 3 quarterbacks
do a touchdown pass.
I mean, there's multiple scenarios and situations where, I mean, Carson Beck got hurt last year for Georgia at the end of the season. And like, you're going to your bench like in the playoff. Like, that's real. Like, those things happen. And so I don't anticipate that being the case. I think he'll stay.
Kenny G, great one.
Absolutely.
Right? Great one. And this is, again, guys, we won a national championship with a third-string quarterback, Cardell Jones, in 2014. Kenny G comes off the bench, gets a big win. And that's kind of what Lincoln's going to do. And you talked about Devin Brown even last year going in, throwing a touchdown to JJ on the sideline at Michigan State. Like, when called upon, are you willing to respond? And again, development, the process that they talk about nonstop, this is just part of it for him. And it's also, he understands what his role is. It doesn't mean that I'm still not competing at practice. It doesn't mean that I still don't get better every single day that I go out there. It's just right now at this moment, I'm not the starting quarterback. However, doesn't mean that that's how that's going to be at the end of the season. And that's the mindset that you have to have. And that's the part of embracing the process and the journey and where it's going to lead to you in the future. And the number one thing for him is be the best quarterback that I can possibly be, making 1% of 1% gains every single day.
1% Schlegs of 1%. So that's it. And that's a big part. But I think that also speaks, Schlegs, to the culture of this. And Ryan talks kind of about everything and went through a lot of the position groups. And we did all that already, but we'll kind of high level some of it, of just where he was and what he thought about. But when you make these decisions, what did it say? I read this quote, and great leaders are quick to act and slow to change. Poor leaders are slow to act and quick to change, which you start thinking about it. People that cannot be decisive, it's not a great situation, because then they muddle around a lot, and then they will quick to go off of what they believe. If you're a leader, you're convicted, you make the decision. I've got the information. I believe my decision is right. Now, I'm not going to just overlook all evidence to the contrary if things begin to change, but I'm going to make sure that I give this situation enough time to play out, as opposed to you see people just always bouncing around trying to figure stuff out. And I think that's why Ryan, he did this. I was almost surprised. I think he wanted to get this done. And I'm not saying that Julian isn't the guy, but I mean, it was a tight battle, as you saw, Schlegs, during camp, and guys playing back and forth, and what things look like. So it was probably almost like I'm putting myself to this deadline. I'm going to make the decision. I'm going to live with it. We're going to ride it, and then we're going to see what happens. If I realize at some point I've made the wrong decision, okay, but that's not going to be in the next couple of weeks. I don't think it's going to be some quarterback circus during Texas. But should Lincoln Riley need to be, or should Lincoln Keenholz need to be available? I mean, I think he'll be prepared and ready. But Ryan talked about how it was important for the starter to make sure that he's getting the majority of the reps for the next 2 weeks. Yep. Because sometimes you need to run a play 2 or 3 times to be able to feel comfortable about it and see if it's actually going to work, and how you want to lay it out. And you just can't do that if you're going back and forth.
Nope. Can't. And again, and here's where I hang my hat on, is Ryan Day's quarterbacks. I mean, you had Dwayne Haskins, and again, there were some other ones that left. Joe Burrow left. I didn't notice. I just didn't put the S on there. Quinn Ewers, it does have an S on it. He left. With Dwayne Haskins, Justin Fields, C.J. Stroud. And you went Kyle McCord, Will Howard won a national championship. Now you're at Julian saying, I'm gonna trust the attacking national champion head football coach on the decision here, and excited to see how it plays out August 30th in the shoe. But again, with either one of those guys, just watching what they were able to do at practice, I feel very confident. And here's why I feel confident, regardless of who's at quarterback. You have an offensive line, though not significant amount of starts under the belt, significant amount of starts where it really matters versus the best competition in the country in the playoff run of last year. They all have that. You have skill positions, especially wide receiver, tight end, very deep in the tight end room to be able to do a multitude of things. But you just have to be able to distribute the football and, most importantly, take care of the football and not cause turnovers. And that's what you got going into a week 1 matchup versus Texas, who also has the same question at quarterback. Arch Manning, who did he start against? I think it was like Louisiana State, something like that, or Louisiana Monroe. I don't remember. Is that one in like Mississippi State? Terrible. Those are his 2 starts. Now you're coming into the shoe, start 1, and it's like start number 3, but 1 of this season, really the first big time start of his career. Like, that's not what this game is going to be about. This game is going to be won and lost on the defensive side of the football, and the offense who controls the football and doesn't turn it over and puts the other defense in a bad situation. That's what week 1 matchup, that's what this game's going to come down to.
Well, there's going to need to be a leadership element. And that's the one thing that I'm going to look at for Julian the most, is he's a young guy. He was first time playing a lot. And Lincoln grew up with a lot of these guys that are third-year players. Like, they've played together. They've seen him. Like you mentioned, the Iron Buckeye status and what he brings to the table, and he's been around him. That one thing, I think, Schlegs, when foot hits together at noon on next Saturday, I'm not worried about Julian saying throwing the football. I'm worried about Julian saying the field general. What does that look like? How is he able to fill into that role? How does he respond when he may put a pass in the dirt? How does he respond, Schlegs, when he gets his ass knocked off and gets hit and like the line blew a protection? Maybe he missed the blitz, whatever. Like when you get smoked, have a bad play. How does it look after that? That is one of the things that I'm really trying to figure out because you just don't know. You don't know until you see. You can speculate. And I know Lincoln hasn't played as much, but I've seen a little bit more out of Lincoln. You've watched him go through the crucible a little bit. I always say you can't train toughness in November.
Can't do it. In
the offseason. I've watched Lincoln Keenholz for a couple of years now go through this. I've watched the evolution. I've seen him pressed up against, his deepest like fears in life. What are your deepest fears, folks? Suffocating to death in your own oxygen because you can't breathe, just being worked to death and not being able. And like when you have to find out a little bit about yourself. Hey, out of sight, get out of my own mind. I got to focus on the task at hand. I can focus on leading these guys. I need to focus on my performance. It doesn't matter if I can't breathe at all. It doesn't matter if I was thrown up in a trash can 2 minutes ago. Get your crap together and let's go saddle up. And so you've seen that. Not that I'm saying Julian can't do that, but it's one thing that you've seen smaller sample sizes of him.
Yeah.
And that is what is going to need to be there when it's not, dude, I don't need to see you how good you can throw a 40-yard touchdown pass. I know Julian Sayin can do that. It's how good are you when you're facing a 3rd and 12 and it's loud and everything's going on. Can you settle it down and steady everybody out and be able to kind of push forward at that moment?
Yep. And go get tough yards to move it, extend a drive, right? I mean, offense is number one responsibility. Take care of the football and get 2 first downs. However you got to do it, that's what you got to do. And so can we see him do it? And those things will be answered. And I'm with you on Lincoln and all those things. I mean, it's 18 months versus 2.5 years, Bob. Like that is the thing, right? It's like 18 months, 2.5 years. But we'll see. And you know what? We'll see because I'm going to trust the attacking national champion coach that made the decision. So I'm excited to watch it play out.
It'll be good. Listen, man, I'm Julian.
And this is how it starts doesn't mean it's how it finishes.
Well, and one thing is true, like people are like, well, you like this guy versus that guy. I've just seen more of them. So I feel more comfortable with some of the decisions. That's why Ryan makes, the big buy. That's why he sits Schlegs. That's why he sits in the big chair because he's got to make those decisions. And then you've got to own those decisions moving forward. And like you and I, there may be some guys that we like and you want to see play. But at the end of the day, I always tell you, I want what's best for the program. I want what's best for the individual guys too. But I want the best players to go out there and play. My favorites don't matter. Like I want to see the guys who deserve to be on the field and have worked hard and have put themselves in a position to go win. I want to see those guys on the field. And Ryan has tried to do that, as best he can. I mean, as all of the coaches, as best they can with their evaluations.
Yeah. And it's you guys are throwing great comments in the chats. Like, I don't think Ryan's going to put somebody in there that wouldn't have the locker room or the respect of the guys in the locker room. What Bobby's really alluding to is like, there is no coaches standing behind you, right? Like if anybody's coach,
practice, the coach is right behind you. So, hey, I didn't get the call. And they like spit it out or like this happens. Like they're right there. Mom and dad, this is like you're getting dropped off at school, buddy. You're out there now.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what we're talking about, guys. Like, there's nobody back there, and these are the situations. And still, even in spring, like you're getting, it's not real. It's not live bullets. It's not people screaming. Granted, they're gonna be on offense in the shoot, so it's not gonna be as loud. But it's still there's not the confidence that mom or dad or coach are right beside me and they can like, hey, check this, alert this. Like that's no longer there. But guys, you're absolutely correct. Ryan's not going to throw somebody in there that the guys don't believe in, that he doesn't believe in, simply for the fact of he has more stars than another guy. That's not what he's doing. He feels that this puts his team in the best position to beat Texas week 1. And that's why he made the decision. So the good thing is this, though, and to your point, Bob, like they've already talked about the tightness of that room is they compete hard with one another. But yet they also are each other's biggest advocates and fans. And that's what it is. And that honestly, that's part of embracing the process and finding the joy in what you do and loving what you do, where you do it, and who you do it with, and knowing that every single day I'm going to go out there, try to make myself better, try to make my team better, because when called upon, I'm going to have to go and respond. And that's kind of Lincoln's mindset and why you and I love him. And you did say this, like, we want those guys to go out there, Bob, and be able to perform. But there is no, I just want to make sure everybody understands this. There is no deserving. There's only winning.
Yeah.
I'm just letting you guys know, right? This guy may deserve it, right? And I'm taking a name off it. That guy puts in the work every single day. He deserves it. You don't deserve anything. That's what you should be doing. But we want that person to have success, right? There's a lot of David Adolph. He's a walk-on. Recently got a scholarship, I believe, last year. David Adolph, you would say, deserves to play. I watch him in practice. He makes plays. He could start at a lot of big-time programs in the country, especially the MAC, 100%. Does he deserve to play? Yeah. But is he better than the other ones? The answer is no. So he doesn't. Will he get reps? Yeah. But that's the difference here, guys, when we look at Ohio State and people that are deserving and people that are the best. When you go out there and say, here's my best 11, let's go beat this team. I just want you to understand that there is a difference between them.
Well, Schleggs, I believe your guy, Mr. Clint Eastwood, once said, deserving ain't got nothing to do with it.
That's so true. Yes.
And it's very true. It's true. My dad would always say that, like, I deserve this. You very well might. But deserving ain't got nothing to do with it. Play the best, and that's what's going to happen. And we'll see the chips fall where they may and be ready to roll. We'll talk a little bit more about some of the rest of the lineup, some of the other stuff about the Michigan. There's been a lot of fallout on that, and folks are still fired up. Ryan was even asked about that in the presser. We'll talk about his. Oh yeah. I want to tell you about this Tuesday, August 26th. It's FanDuel Futures Day, a new holiday for football fans. It's 24 hours of deals on all your football season predictions. So take a flyer on the MVP race. Who do you want for MVP, Schleggs? You want Joe Burrow? Maybe
I like Joe Burrows to win MVP.
Both of them,
Super
not
Bowl
just
MVP.
Joe Burrow, Joe Burrows.
Yeah,
both. Two Joe Burrows.
Stay off him at practice, by the way.
Maybe Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson's, Josh Allen's, all of them together. Pat Mahomes or Pat Mahomes. Maybe it's just Mahomes. Schleggs will take the S off of him to see what happens. Or who's going to be your champion? Pick your team. Parlay or division winner, dark horses. Mark your calendars. This is your day for your hunches, your hot takes, your calls, and your odds. Visit FanDuel, the FanDuel app today, and start planning your futures bets now, because Futures Day is one day and one day only. FanDuel, play your game. Must be 21 and older and present in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit FanDuel.com/RG. More from Ryan Day coming up next.
Creative, experience, results. That's what drives growth. That's what builds brands. That's Lake Spur Marketing, a full-service agency built on trust, strategy, and performance, not fluff. From bold strategies to flawless execution, every campaign is rooted in smart planning and driven by clear goals. We don't chase clicks. We build partnerships. We show up, dig in, and deliver every single time. Lake Spur Marketing. The proof is in our partners.
One of the other things, Schleggs, as we talk about this with the quarterbacks, and someone pointed this out, and they're like, Ryan Day's record with choosing quarterbacks is pretty good. If Ryan Day was Wannstedt, you remember Dave Wannstedt, Schleggs?
Oh, of course I do.
Coach,
Old Stash.
Coached at Pittsburgh. And
yes,
he chose Tyler Palco over Joe Flacco. Most people don't even remember that unless you're a Pittsburgh fan. But Joe Flacco subsequently transferred to Delaware or Delaware State, one of the two.
Yeah, I think it was Delaware.
Whoever wears the winged helmets, it's the royal blue and yellow. It kind of looks like Michigan, but he goes there. And then Joe Flacco, you can say whatever you want, but the dude's won a Super Bowl and played 16 years in the NFL. And so Wannstedt chose Palco over him. Palco was okay, pretty good college quarterback. I would be worried. But his history, Schleggs, suggests when you start looking at his guys here with Joe Burrow and Dwayne, and believe me, he was the OC, but not the head coach. That was ultimately Urban's call. And by the way, both those guys ended up being really good. I don't know if he could have chose wrong. When you start looking at what he did with CJ Stroud, Justin Fields, CJ Stroud, bringing in Will Howard, I don't know if there's a strike. I think everything's been a contact hit. And
Well, he also
what I give him
here's the other thing, Bob. He also made the hard decision of, with Kyle McCord, something was lacking. I want to have an open competition after that 2023 season, and we're going to go look for somebody to compete against Kyle McCord. And that's when it's like, hey, I should be the starter, regardless of what the scenario was. Well, Howard comes in, and he was exactly what they needed, and he saw that from the jump. Like, I mean, when you go look back then, right, in the vaults of past history, right? Like, nobody was like, why are you getting this guy from Kansas State that's a 61% completion guy that runs the football?
Well, people questioned it for sure.
100%. And he was exactly what we needed. And he was identified by Ryan Day. This is the guy that I want from the portal. And he was not the top candidate in the portal at that time. But he was for us because Ryan knew the fit. So I'm thinking, all right, if he kind of knows that, like, he also knows this. And these guys are developed at Ohio State. He understands he understands what he wants, and he makes this decision. So, again, that's why I'm going to say I'm going to trust that guy. And it's so amazing. I mean, like right now where we are, guys, we're in August. They won the national championship on January 20th. And it's like, this is why that whole thing about understanding your why and loving what you do, where you do it, and who you do it with comes into play, because people are talking about recruits. They're talking about the quarterback. 7 months. We're already on to the next. And that's why it's so imperative about the process and the journey, more so than checking the boxes and the goals of each single year, because it's unsustainable. Like, everybody, and us included, man, we're excited for this Texas matchup, but these are the things that go into it, because that year is the past. And you know what's cool too is these guys that we'll have to get into the captains and everything else, but these guys are all about that too, man. They're all about
life.
They're about that life. It's a new year. It's a new team. It's our team, and they're excited to get this party started on August 30th.
Okay, I like it. Austin Sarabeld, your left tackle, Schleiks.
Yep. That's what he said.
How do you feel about that?
Well, I feel great about it. He's also a captain. He's also one of those dudes that is just an absolute meat grinder out there, Bob. And Austin's more athletic than you think. Like,
is it because he's balder and looks older that made?
Dude, what I think it does. I mean, I told him about.
Looks like he's a 7-year NFL vet already.
I told him about the Spartan, all the stuff that we're doing, and my kids still make fun of me. And I told him, I was like, listen, it takes 6 months. I was like, I see baby hair in there, little baby's hair growing in there, man. Austin, you can do it too. At least keep what you got, or just get the plus. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Ironically,
you got NIL money.
It takes 6 months. I mean, Schleiks, how do you feel? Like, I've been on it. I marked it. I started, I think, right after the national championship game.
Okay, that's good.
I ordered it impulse buy in the Cleveland airport when I was flying to Texas. Right, that was when it started for me. So we're like 6 months. What do we think, dude? I mean, I don't know. I think
looking good, looking sexy, man.
We're NKOTB, dude. We're hanging tough. Like, let's not just get worse. We got Austin at left tackle. I didn't hear him. I missed some of the presser because it's tough. He gets to the field, or he leaves the field, and I was still talking to Matty P.
Same thing for Matt. Said, hey, you can say the same thing about Julian being there because he looks 15. That's funny.
Julian does. He's like, well, for everybody that like is Greg Oden, there's a Julian saying,
right there. It's the polar opposite. Like, honestly, Austin is a younger guy and Julian's a younger guy. It's like, but Austin really kind of looks like me in my picture, right? Of like a guy that's in his 40s just drinking Bud Heavies and eating chicken wings.
Maybe that's if we show Austin that picture of you, and then we're like, Austin, there's hope, dude. Schleiks looks younger now than he did 20 years ago.
Exactly. Just think about what you're going to be in 20 years, Austin. You're going to be dating a supermodel, bro. Like, I got you, man. I see you, Austin.
Like Benjamin Button, you just get hotter in reverse. Do we think the right tackle is going to end up being Daniels? Do you feel like that's where this is going to go?
I think here's what I think.
You may have said that. And like I said, missed the very beginning of the presser. I'm guessing he started with like Julian right off the jump, and I caught the end of that question. So I'm guessing whatever. But are we thinking that's where it's going?
Here's what I think. I think that the offensive line, the continuity of that comes with like play, and everybody kind of knows where they are. I think it's going to be what comes down to the other guard positions? Is Tegra the guard? Do they want to put dadgummit, I keep forgetting the Eclipse.
Ethan
Keep forgetting
Onyala.
Ethan. Is he going to be a guard? Is he going to be the tackle? Is he going to be like the floater guy, next man up type deal? I think Luke Montgomery is really solidified in there. Is it Tegra? Who else could it be on that side? I think Carson's your center. But you also got some Padilla, like another great option. You've had a lot of young guys like come in and step up and show out. So I think him just saying Austin and leaving it at that still gives a little bit of like, Texas, who cares? Like, that doesn't matter. But we know that that's a guy because he's a captain too. So it's okay to say that he is unequivocally our starting left tackle.
Okay. So you think he's left, and then you think inside guard, center guard will be Luke, Carson, and Tegra.
Yeah, I would say right now, here's the question. Is it Tegra? Is it Ethan? And then Daniels? That's kind of, or is it Daniels? Or Ethan, then Daniels, then Tegra. Like, what is that? I know Tegra is a guard. I think it's those three guys on those two positions as to who is the starter.
Okay. But they're going to want to start getting reps. And because Ryan said he goes, if you feel good about 3 or 4 linebackers, there are 4 corners, 3 safeties.
Yes.
One of the things I think, and Larry Johnson, they were talking to him about, depth and size. It was not really building depth, it's building experience. But, K-Mac, I know, can be a dude. You've seen flashes from Will. You've seen some flashes from Edric, and Edric flashed some in games last year. But there's got to be a level of consistent play. And I think that's the one thing if people are worried about. It's still going to be that defensive tackle position, Schlegs, that trying to figure out, do you have enough bodies in there to be able to get 80 plays, high-level football? What does that look like? Who's all playing? Is it 2 guys, 3 guys? And then some of it's going to be with Matt Patricia. If you feel like there's a deficiency or maybe not as much, like, can you call some fronts to be able to hide that stuff a little bit, to be able to disguise and maybe talk some people out of running the football?
Yep, 100%. And that's where, what is the best 11? And so looking at the teams that we play, looking at the personnel packages, that dictates a lot of what they do. Bob, you remember, hell, we'd still run big nickel, even in 12 personnel, predicated upon, no, we're fine in the situation, but you had Dante as the big nickel, right? Same thing how they're using Caleb. But you can also say, okay, boom, we're going to rotate a guy out. But all we're doing was taking off of a defensive tackle and subbing in a safety. So you can move those quickly. You can also hide guys interiorly. How? You make a move. You got some really big ends that can be 5 techniques, or even come inside and play a 3.
Oh, you can play some even front, play some odd front, play some bear, like mix
which
it
is
up.
which is great, because what is, like, you guys understand what the bubble is, but puts the bubble into the boundary, allows you to expand, allows people to go and play fast. The biggest thing in those things when you move fronts or have different alignment, it's great communication from the back end as to who is the run fit, who's the cutback player, and where is your help. Like, honestly, when you make it that simple, you can play really, really fast in it, but you can hide some deficiencies, whether it's size, right, or lack of experience, by doing certain things like that and allowing guys to play really fast. And that's why I again, told you guys, in this game, in this matchup, 2, young quarterbacks and Matty P's defense and what our defense does. That's why I keep going back to, it's going to be a defensive game, and it's going to be predicated upon the offense that doesn't turn the football over. And that's why I'm excited about this matchup, and I'm excited about where the Buckeyes stand going into it.
I don't think it's going to be some crazy high-scoring game. We'll talk a little bit about predictions here coming up next. I text our guy Ben Stevens, see if we can get him greased.
Oh my gosh, we got restart that guy.
Yeah.
Restart him. Give one of these. Boom.
That's Ben Stevens. Anything. Give me a second half rushing line bet for the Maction game on Thursday night, and he'll be able to tell you all about it. Like, he's amazing. Attention parents and athletes, protect what matters most with XSport mouthguards, trusted by professional athletes, designed by NHL team dentists. XSport mouthguards are scientifically tested to absorb those high-impact hits, protecting both your teeth and your brain. XSport mouthguards feature 3 layers of advanced protection, including a patented use of carbon fiber, a custom 3D print that bad boy to your smile. It's like they snap in and snap out. My kids got theirs.
Bro, look at it. It's in there. I'm playing. You should have ran with this in your conditioning test.
Oh, that would have been rough. I like to chew gum. I need the chewing gum. So you can focus on your game, not on your gear. Don't take chances with your safety. Visit exportguards.com/Bobby today. Save 15% on your order. Export, protect what matters most. More of the Bobby Carpenter Show coming up next. All right, welcome back into the Bobby Carpenter Show. And Schlegs, Ryan was asked about Michigan. He really didn't dive into it all that much. I think he was trying to focus on the quarterbacks. And because of that announcement today, with the quarterbacks and Julian Stain being the starter, he didn't really get into it, and there weren't a whole lot of questions about it. He kind of skirted it and really didn't address it too much with the penalty. I say skirted, just didn't really go into detail on it, and kind of, I wouldn't say ignored, but like moved to the next question, didn't land on anything. I don't know what you want him to do, like of how to answer that, because you don't want to come off like sour grapes and trying to be like, hey, we're focused on that. You're focusing on your team right now. But I guarantee you most of the coaches across the Big Ten are probably frustrated and troubled with the fact that those penalties came down the way that they did.
Yeah, I think my biggest hang up with everything was, and I understand the point was that they didn't vacate or bowl ban. Let me take that back. They didn't bowl ban because nobody that was affiliated with that team from coaching staff or anybody that made the violations was no longer on the staff. Therefore, they didn't want to punish the athletes. Going further, it was because those punishments were laid down to USC, to Ohio State in 2010. That was predicated upon the use of ineligible players. Okay. All right. I understand. Where does cheating fall in that from a science standpoint? And again, I hate the clips of look at this one particular play and viewing that as a context like they had the play. No, the guy, it's not like you're going to get every one. You have to still go out there and execute. Like, I totally get it. But it was a competitive advantage. And who spent the $35,000 on all the flights? Oh, that was the program. The thing that I had the biggest problem with was the fact that they were already on probation and then are on probation again. And because you violated the first probation, there was nothing else that was stacked onto it. It was like these punishments were predicated to this. But what about the punishment for breaking the probation that you were already on while you did these things, which then to me would have led to something more severe. And that's where, again, very bipartisan, like just not taking into the landscape of maize and blue, scarlet and gray, just a landscape of college football and the competitive advantage that it has. There was no precedent set about it, that it's not good to follow the rules. It's just, no, as a matter of fact, do whatever you want, get put on probation. Continue to do it. Get put on probation. Doesn't matter. Here's the consequences. And that's what I didn't like about it. Like, no hammer, whatever. It just should have been just, and I don't think it was enough. There you go.
Yeah.
And there's no reason. I'm gonna tell you guys this too. There's no reason for Ryan Day to say anything about it.
And that's
it's a new year. I just want you guys to know that it serves him and his team no service to answer these things, because what are they focused on? Again, national championship was 2020 or on the 20th of January. Michigan's was, the year pre. Like, it's over, man. We're already on the 25. We're Michael Jenkins away, as somebody put in the chat, from the Texas game. The last thing he needs to talk about is this. Where does Ryan always, if it's something bad for his team, it's always on Ryan. And if it's something positive, it's always on his team. And guess what? The only focus he wants right now is on his team and doing everything he can to make sure they're ready to play Texas on August 30th. And that's how it should be.
I agree with that, Schlegs. I think you're onto something, and I always look, when you're going to comment on it, what's the purpose? And Ryan, I think, doesn't say anything without intentionality. And so when you heard that, I was like, okay, so what would be the purpose of him saying something right there? And it doesn't serve his purpose. They're not going to go back and change it. you just kind of have to deal with it. And the best revenge is to live well and hopefully go get a win and take care of all of that this year. And then all of a sudden, it's kind of in the rearview mirror. Hopefully, I was surprised they didn't give him any. There was no postseason ban, just given the fact that what's the deterrent from doing it moving forward?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, and again, honestly, in a discussion, because really, to me, it's. And here's the thing, guys. So Bob has unique access. I have unique access. And the reason we do what we do is we try to give you a real perspective of behind the scenes look, and also through our lens of former players, former coach, right, as to what's going on, how do you prepare for these games, and what is the mindset associated with playing at an elite level. And those are the things, the positive stuff that we always like to cover. And this is just a negative thing that actually, over all of college football and the integrity of the game. So I'm good. I'm done talking about it.
Absolutely. Buckeye Schlegs. All right. Coming up next, we'll get our headlines. But first, we'll tell you about our friends over at Backer Schlegs, premium Buckeye gear for premium Buckeye fans. It's almost the season, 2 weeks left. You may not need it week one. Become November, you're going to need the wind gear, the rain gear, the cold gear. They've got it all. It looks great. It feels great. Their stuff has all the features you're looking for. Once you get into it, you're never going to want to wear anything else. It's Backer, BCKR.com, BCKR.com. You go there, use promo code, all caps, BOBBY at checkout, free expedited shipping. That's right, Coach. There's like 135 days left in the year. It sounds like a lot, but I'm telling you, Christmas will be here. The holidays will be here. Get your stuff now and then just hold on to it until then. That's BCKR. Backer makes a great gift. Go check them out. Coming up next, we got our headlines.
Creative, experience, results. That's what drives growth. That's what builds brands. That's Lake Spur Marketing, a full-service agency built on trust, strategy, and performance, not fluff. From bold strategies to flawless execution, every campaign is rooted in smart planning and driven by clear goals. We don't chase clicks. We build partnerships. We show up, dig in, and deliver every single time. Lake Spur Marketing. The proof is in our partners.
We got a lot of headlines here, Schlegs. I want to kind of touch on some of them because we'll get into it because they've got the great videos of guys calling their parents and announcing as captains. 4 captains for the Buckeyes. If we got a picture of that, Pat, that we can throw up there. On the defensive side, we had Caleb Downs and we had Sonny Styles.
Yep.
On the offensive side, you have Brandon Innes and you have Austin Sareveld. And then Sonny Styles also was given the unique distinction of being named the Block O recipient, the 6th annual Block O recipient this year. And it was a big deal. And we've got video of those guys calling their parents, each one of them. And it's pretty special stuff. Remember, Schlegs, we were talking about potential captains. I threw out Brandon Innes a while back, and people were like, never even started before. I'm like, dude, leadership knows no age. Schlegs, you said it has. There are no
leadership has no age. Leadership has no age.
And it knows no international boundaries either. It's like Austin Powers, I mean, but he's a guy that is always grinding out there. He plays hard all the time, and he's not afraid to get everybody else to play hard along with him. So you knew that was probably coming, even though he's underclassman, first year's a starter. Caleb Downs, another underclassman. Then you've got Sonny and you got Austin, who have kind of been there a little bit longer. So I think it's a great choice, and I think Sonny was a great choice as well for the Block O.
Yeah, I mean, let's just go back to what you said. I mean, Brandon Innes, does everything well. Not somebody that's going to – remember you talked about the gold standard, not somebody that has gold in every single category, but the intangibles, the thing that he's willing to do for his teammates on a play, like just going out there and doing your job above and beyond. Like that's how this guy is. I just remember the first time I saw him in the weight room, it was the attitude and intensity of which he trained. I'm looking at the wide receiver. I'm like, dude, AT, that's a dude. I never seen the kid play. I'm just like, but that's a dude. I like him, and that's, again, he's got him and Jermaine just got a bunch of little pit bull tats on his stomach. No, they don't, but that's how I kind of view him. Oh, old Q Dog from DeSoto, Texas, who did have those. That's how I think of Brandon. And then you look at Sonny, the block O recipient, following Cody Simon, and again, Jonathan Cooper, Thayer Mumford, Cameron Babb, Xavier Johnson, Cody Simon. All those guys that I mentioned right there were all about the Buckeyes, and he's a Central Ohio guy. Doesn't matter where you're from, but he does everything right. He does, man. And he's like, he went from safety, went to linebacker. Hell, people are talking trash about him in the first couple of games as a linebacker without taking the context of the fact that this guy played safety. And now he's playing 3 different positions at linebacker. It's hard enough just to learn one. It's the first time you're doing it, but we're having you play Will, Mike, and Sam. Okay, right? And he turned into a really, really good linebacker who's going to have a phenomenal season. There's Sonny. You look at Austin. Austin is just a competitor all the time, man. Handles his business inside and outside of the building, but is just an absolute grinder. Doesn't say a lot, but just plays with a chip on his shoulder all the time. And who the last one? And then obviously there's Caleb, right? So again, leadership knows no age. You don't have to be a senior to be a captain. But the one thing that always impresses me the most with Caleb is just how cerebral and an old soul that he is. Like the skirmishes or guys talking trash, like he's about the next play or this play and the things that he has to do and the communication aspect. This dude just loves football, man. And he loves growing in his football acumen every single day because he wants to be – he's a lot like Michael J. He wants to be that guy. Like he sees himself at 20 as that guy, And you have to love that and appreciate it. And that's what – when we go to practice, Bob, those are the things that we look at. It's like, man, great read. Or I'm listening to the convos that they're having with coaches. I'm like, that's a very, very high-level convo that you're having with a coach about the why. That's what I want to see, right? Like that's where the growth happens.
It's great. All right. Well, that is it for our headline Schlegs. They're brought to you by our friends over at Lake Spur Marketing. Lake Spur Marketing prides themselves on delivering positive and powerful results. They're a full transparency marketing agency who will be with you every single step of the way. Their constant communication with their clients at Lake Spur Marketing. There isn't a set it and forget it strategy. All their tactics are customized to your needs. Trust the experts. Trust Lake Spur Marketing. The proof is in their partners. Visit lakespurmarketing.com today. We got our tailgate talk. We'll answer some of your questions and talk a little bit about this Ohio State-Texas line. Who's the underdogs? What does it look like? Here coming up next. All right, welcome back in the Bobby Carpenter Show. And as always, we got our tailgate talk brought to you by our friends at Real Truck Schlegs. We're talking about this OSU Texas line. First, I want to touch on, we can toss that up, Pat, about the question, who threw that up there?
I think it was, I texted Matt. I don't know. Matt, I think, said it. Matt.
But talking about this, the Big Ten recommending 24, potentially 28 teams for the playoff. Just chill.
So gross.
We'll get into that tomorrow.
Okay, Matt, we'll get into it tomorrow.
For that. A little appetizer for that. Now with Ohio State named as starting quarterback, that Texas-Ohio State line's been out on FanDuel. Ohio State favored -2.5. I think that's basically a pick 'em on a neutral field. You're going to give Ohio State give them the points being at home. Hostile environment, great spot. I think it's going to be close. I would like to see over under 47 Schlegs. That's not a lot of points. That's like a 21, 24-ish, mid-20s game for both teams. 23, 24. Like, I can see this thing being like 24-17, 21-17. These defenses are better than you think. And first-year quarterbacks, it's going to be bumpy. I can't imagine one. If you get to 31, I think you win the game for sure.
I'm taking Ohio State by a field goal, and as Pat said on here, I'm slamming the under. That's what I'm thinking.
Life's too short to bet the under, man. Cheering for less points, but this seems like one where
I'm just saying. I'm with you. I like it. Score points. That's why I'll take Ohio State and be over. I'll lose on that one. you know?
Well, here's the thing. I hate cheering for the under because you can always lose the under. Once the over hits, you've won. Like, they don't take points off the board. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, I've seen some guard. Hey, you know, people got screwed. You were on the staff. Remember when Joey Bosa jumped on that the fumble at Northwestern at the end of the game?
Oh yeah.
That hit the over. People lost money because on the final play of the game, strip sack, Joey Bosa dives on the touchdown. That's bad beat all day long. People lost a lot of cash because of it. And that's why the under just terrifies me, but it feels like that'll be a lower scoring game. I get it. Great show today. A lot of folks in the chat popping off. Season's here. It's exciting. So thanks for coming in here. Thanks for tuning in with us. We're going to have Schlegs give us his parting thoughts as we wrap up the show coming up next. All right, Schlegs.
Hey, did we hit that? Did we hit the Stover one last week? I can't even remember.
You put it up there. We haven't hit Stover.
Yeah, put it up. Yeah, I'm pretty sure because we did your thing instead, Bob, which we should because you running 20 halves is impressive. Throw it up there. What can they see the play really good? You might have to replay it one more time.
So hey, I couldn't even watch the block. He's just smashing.
No. He's right there. The guy getting off the ground. Hit the replay button. Just watch. Watch from the beginning. Watch from the beginning. Look at this. Look at this. I don't need to see the running back. Go back and bang, right there. Boom. Yeah. Defensive tackle on the ground. Look, why did I put that on there? Cade Stover, much like Brandon Ennis, plays the game the way that it's supposed to be played. That's why I wanted on my little side nugget, because there's another one coming up too about this game is played with violence, and it should be, and that's how you should coach it. But I love seeing a former Buckeye come back and block a defensive tackle and buckle him to his knees. Big year for Cade Stover. Go Bucks beat cancer.
Go Bucks beat cancer. We'll be back with you tomorrow here on the Bobby Carpenter Show.